Welcome to the Retreat Leaders Podcast, the show for visionary coaches, healers, wellness pros, and small business owners who aren't just here to host another feel-good getaway, but to build a profitable, impactful retreat business. I'm your host, Shannon Jamail, retreat strategist, business mentor, and owner of a 46-acre retreat center. I've hosted over 100 retreats around the world, and I've made every mistake so you don't have to. Each week, we'll dive into the mindset, marketing, money, business, and mechanics behind sold-out, profitable retreats. Plus, hear from expert guests who are walking the talk. Whether you're planning your first retreat or scaling your 100th, you're in the right place. Welcome to the show. Hey guys, welcome back or welcome to the Retreat Leaders Podcast. It's Shannon, and I'm going to pause right here for just a second, bug the shit out of you guys. And if you are new here, welcome. But I need a favor. Could you please pause the show and go subscribe? And if you've done that already, can you at least leave us a review? Listen, if you end up hating me, you don't love me, whatever is the case, you can always unsubscribe. But by subscribing, that really helps me to bring on amazing guests like our guest today. Welcome, Anna, to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited you are here. Anna is a fellow in our industry, and I happened to tumble upon you, and I don't even know how I did, to be quite honest with you. And I was like, who is this chick? And look at the great things she's doing. So will you just take a moment and tell our audience who you are and what you do?
Yes, I'm Anna. I'm the founder of Wandering Roots. I've hosted 22 retreats all over the world since 2018. And I also help other people plan and host their own profitable retreats.
Yes, I love that you said profitable. You are speaking my language. It's something that I'm super passionate about when it comes to our industry, because there are too many people in this industry talking about how it should be all about the passion. And in my opinion, you have to have both, and they have to be equally as important. And so I'm so glad you said that. Anna, tell me what got you into retreats in the first place.
I it's a long story. I used to work as a lab manager for a startup company, and I did it for 13 years. And my last stint, I was given the opportunity to be an entrepreneur with no financial risk. And so it sort of planted a seed of like, I wonder two things. One, I would love to work for myself. And two, I wonder if I was more passionate about what I was doing, what type of success I could have. Because I had a lot more than I ever anticipated, but I was really falling out of love with the industry. And I was also in a car accident, and I had to have neck surgery. So I stumbled into yoga sort of to avoid being a pain clinic patient for the rest of my young life. And I took yoga teacher training. I met a lot of people, and I just decided that if I was wildly unenthused about my life, there had to be other people out there. And so I thought I could literally combine my love for travel and yoga and host a retreat and just start creating space for people to like pause and consider what they actually want out of life.
Okay, that was so yummy. So now you host about how many retreats a year, and who are they for? Like, who's your ideal guest?
Yeah, so I now do only 3 a year. They're all international 7-day. I was doing around 6, some long weekends more locally. I'm in Michigan, but I have since transitioned now just into 3 a year. That's enough for me at the moment. Might change my mind, might not, I don't know. But anyways, we have a lot of women that are 30s to 70s, honestly, and some are the women. Honestly, my favorite ones are the women that are empty nesters, recently divorced, recently retired, and we're like, okay, I'm finally doing something for myself. Those women show up unapologetically, and I wish they would have done it in their 30s, to be honest, but they are so much fun. And then we also have quite a few either young single gals that don't want to travel alone, or busy moms of young kids that don't want to travel with their kids, or they do travel with their kids, and it's not vacation. It's different. It's great, but it's not relaxing. So kind of a mixed bag of great women in different seasons of their lives.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I have to agree with you on the unapologetic women that show up that have
Yeah.
have lived a season or two and they're just like, this is my time. Like right now
Yes.
is my time. And like you mentioned, all the seasons are beautiful, but I really feel that probably because I'm headed in that season. I've got just a couple of teenagers left at home and I'm like, I'm so ready, Anna.
I don't blame you.
People tell me that I'm going
I
to be like sad, and I'm like, I have a 30-year-old and a 24-year-old that moved out. I am not sad. I love visiting them, but I'm not sad. And so, like, I feel this like in my bones. I feel this. I also
Yeah.
feel the fact that you've like changed from hosting 6 retreats a year and you're down to 3 international. You know, I was doing 8 to 10 a year, and starting next year, I'm
Jeez.
doing 3, and then I'm going to 2. So I feel that as well, just a transition in life, and I don't know if you feel this way, but I also want to be able to make the ones that I am doing count that much bigger, both for me and for
Yeah.
my guests, you know?
Yeah, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And people underestimate how much work they are, to be honest. And
Yeah.
I took two of my hobbies and made them my career. And so to preserve them in the way that they fuel me, I had to scale back. Otherwise, I was always scouting, I was always working, I was never checking out and retreating myself, I guess. So that in this season of my life is what works for me.
Okay, that also hits something really yummy is I also didn't want to get to the point where it was like, oh, it's another retreat. Or,
Yeah.
you know, I really want to look forward to the guests we come into contact, physical, like in the same space contact. I really wanted to look forward to that. And I was starting to feel like, oh my gosh, and all I'm doing is, you know, thinking about what needs to happen for this next retreat and what needs to happen for this next
Yeah.
retreat. So I love that you pointed that out. One of the things I really also wanted to focus on today is kind of what I get a sense from you is this whole idea of it can be profitable without pressure and that you don't need to
Mm.
do it all to run a successful retreat. And like it doesn't have to look like everyone else's. Can you just kind of expand on that a little bit?
Yes. I to hit on your point from earlier too is I I have never hosted myself and I have never worked with a retreat planning client that is hosting for the money. It's never their why. It's never the reason they want to host a retreat. But it is the only way that it's sustainable. And I think also as women, we want to heal the world and maybe give to the expense of ourselves. And I'm way over that. I didn't even fall into it that long. But it is the difference between running a sustainable, successful business or operating an expensive hobby. If I wasn't going to make a retreat, why wouldn't I just take all my best friends? I just was like, it's stupid. So, anyways, all that to say is I have worked with so many people and their retreats are so unique. Like and the best part about it is they're so passionate about their content. They just need help with the logistics and executing it. And also we talk about money a lot. We talk about the budget in order to make them money so they can do it again. I've worked with so many people that have had okay numbers as far as guest count and still aren't generating enough money or the venue makes more or whatever. And um they're pretty down and I don't want them to quit. They were super passionate when they started. So anyways, all that to say is I came from a background of working in corporate and I side hustled the my brand Wandering Roots for 2 years and I was watching the numbers so that I could quit and that my lifestyle didn't change. So I was driven by, hey, this needs to work in this capacity. Again, not my driving why, and why I show up year after year and retreat after retreat, but it was a key factor in how I built my brand. So
Okay, so I always also use the language of this can be an expensive hobby or it can be a business. So we are literally speaking the same
we're
language.
best friends,
We're
Shannon.
best
We're
friends,
gonna.
okay? I'm just serious. We're going to have to now meet up in person.
I'm
I mean,
fine
you
with
could go
that.
back through some of my old stuff, and I use that all the time because that's what I see. Honestly, Anna, over 90% of the retreat leaders or those that are leading retreats, it's an expensive hobby. It really is.
Yeah,
But what I haven't
100%.
heard and I'm stealing it. And I'm just telling you now, but I will give you credit is instead of doing that, you might as well just take a bunch of girlfriends on a trip because
Yes, you're footing the bill. It's not cheap.
that's so true.
Uh,
But too many people in this space, they're like, to your point, they're super passionate about something, which you heard us say already. Yes, you have to have that. And that does have to be a driving factor. But if you don't have the profit and if you don't have the business acumen on the other side, it will just be not just an expensive hobby, but the fastest way to burn out on your beautiful passion. Like
yes.
it'll just kill that passion completely. And that's just not okay. And I am, like you, very much of the mindset like, I want more quality, passionate retreat leaders in this industry doing amazing things and creating amazing experiences and transformations. And that won't happen if you're not treating it like a business. And so, yes to all of that. I just totally love
I
that.
agree. I want us all to level up together. It's just
Yes.
like, come on.
Yes,
Yeah.
that. I think one of the things that has to happen, Anna, too, in order for that to happen, is letting go of people pleasing tendencies. What do you think about that?
Yes. Yes, that actually goes to like part of your previous question of like, stop throwing everything but the kitchen sink at it. People get so like caught up in like providing valuable and like, ooh, what if no one comes? And it's like, okay, cool. You and all of your guests are going to be exhausted. There's no free time. There's no, it's just, I, I always make sure me and my clients have at least 3 to 4 hours of free time a day in the middle of the day, like before the last meal together. And then also like we spend so much time scaling back things. Like, what is it you're most passionate about? And then what could complement your itinerary? Like, what would complement your content? Your
Mhm.
itinerary should complement whatever work you want to share. And it shouldn't be this like Europe tour, 10 countries in 5 days. That's ridiculous. Nobody wants that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I have seen. So I own a venue here in Texas, and we have retreats happening here every weekend. And they give us their agenda ahead of time so that my staff that lives on site, they can be ready. And I will tell you, sometimes, Anna, I see the itineraries come through, and I'm like, holy, are they going to have time to fucking sleep? Like, I don't
No.
understand what's happening. And some of them are so complicated. Like, group A is going to go over here, group B is going to go over here, group C is going to go over here, and then there's this 10-minute interchange, and
Oh
then group
my
C. And
God.
I'm just like, oh my gosh. And I do, that's such a good point, Anna. I think a lot of times, I think it's twofold. Part of it is they want to teach them all the things, right? They want to just throw
Yeah.
everything but the kitchen sink at them, right? But I think the other thing that really happens is they think, well, I've got to fill it up so that way they'll pay me what I want them to pay me,
Yep.
you know?
I agree with that. I actually in yoga teacher training, one of my instructors said, consider the fact of like some of us had been practicing for 10 years, maybe 5, maybe 2. You cannot teach them everything you've learned in that 10 years in a 60-minute class. It is the same with a retreat. You can't take all of your experience or your knowledge or your education and shove it into this container, whatever, whether it's 3 days or 7 days. You can't. And you have to recognize that everybody's on their own journey. So everybody's going to get something different out of it. You just got to let that expectation go. So that should help you scale back. But also, if what I like to do is create a dream itinerary, pare it down, whatever, write down energetically what I would pay as a guest, and then start doing the numbers. So start getting your quotes, start doing whatever. And if those numbers, the actual number of what it costs to provide, like put this together, and that energetic thing you wrote down in the beginning, if they're wildly apart, if they're not close together, don't do it. Abort the entire thing. You can't sell something if you physically feel like it's too expensive. And I mean, sometimes I can tweak it if it's a little bit off or whatever, but like if if you think it should cost $1,500 and it actually costs $3,500, there's either some limiting beliefs you really got to get over before you even consider hosting a retreat, or you're, I don't know, you went with the most expensive version of everything. I don't know. I think it's probably the first. A lot of
Yeah.
people have a lot of limiting beliefs around money, and I think it'd be really worth your while to get over all of that before you really start your business. So,
That's such a big one for me and in this industry in general. I think you might agree with me that most people in this industry are women. There's definitely a lot of men coming in the industry, and I
Yes,
love seeing it. By the way, hallelujah to the men. Please keep coming.
same.
But there's a lot of women in this industry, and historically, and this is not meant to be sexist, but historically, women have more limiting beliefs around money than men tend to do. And and you could go into the culture, you can go into how we were raised, the language, that it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, we have these limiting beliefs a little bit more than men do. And so we get stuck in this whole like, oh my gosh, who's going to pay me that? Am I worth that? Whatever the thoughts that are going through your head consciously or subconsciously. And you're right, they get stuck. And so, where I have seen, Anna, people price their retreats here at the ranch, let me to give you an example. I have seen women price their retreat at the ranch, and paper for paper, it looks very similar to a guy who's hosted here, right? Paper for paper. It's different person, different energy, but let's just say paper to paper. Same amount of nights, same amount of meals, sort of same amount of workshops, a little bit similar outcome, etc. And that man has no problem with pricing it $7,000 to $8,000 a
Yes.
person and doesn't even blink a fucking eye. And the girls over here like, gosh, well they paid 2,500, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What? And so
Yeah.
I love though, Anna, that you said when a retreat leader sits down and says, okay, I'm going to spend this much time at retreat. I'm going to spend this much time at marketing
Mhm.
retreat. I have this much knowledge and experience from my history to get me to this space to then host this retreat. What number makes me happy? And there is
Mhm.
a number. There's a number that makes you happy that if all said and done, your profit, your payroll equals to this, that number makes you happy. And then go and run your numbers, the budget, the spreadsheet, get it all down on paper. When it's all said and done, does that number also equal the one that made you energetically happy? I love that so much. And if not, I do agree with you. I think most of the time it's a belief system issue, not so much a
Mhm.
math issue. Could it sometimes be? Yeah, I had a guest on the show, Brent, lovely guy, by the way, Brent, yay, a Mormon in the industry, and he talked about his first retreat, how he picked some of the most expensive things that he realized later on there could have been other options, and he realized he overspent here and he overspent there. So there's some of that absolutely for especially first time retreaters, but usually it is a belief system issue.
Totally. I 100% agree. We got to get over it. There's 7 billion people in the world, and there are people out there that will pay for your retreat.
I
Um,
fucking have it on my vision board. There's 7 billion people.
no shit, Shannon. Oh my
I'm
God,
not
we're
kidding
so in
you.
sync.
I am not kidding
We're
you because
so in sync.
whenever I'm launching something new, listen, we all go through it. I have this whole little like, and then I'm like, there's 7 fucking billion people in this
Yeah.
world. You know what I mean?
Yes. And the more you host, the more you know energetically what you need to make. That number just gets easier to figure out. And I also, like to your burnout point from earlier, if you're not making enough to live a life that you love, you'll burn out either way. It doesn't matter what your ticket price is. I don't
Yeah.
know if that means you have to put one more retreat on your calendar or that just means you have to raise your prices across the board. You have to figure that out. But your work should not only give you purpose, but it should also create a lifestyle that you actually enjoy and want to be
Yeah.
a part of. So,
Yeah. All day long.
um,
I
all
talked
day long.
about a little bit about like the mistake that Brent made when it comes to overcharging. Is there a mistake that
Mm.
you could share, or not overcharging, overpaying for things on his retreat? Is there a mistake that you feel like you have learned that you then go teach other retreat leaders how not to do?
So I, from a very, very early stage, realized I didn't want to host it alone. It took me a minute to figure out what those tasks were. And I now hire a driver. I am usually in the car by myself and I cannot navigate. Even if I've been there, I've hosted in Costa Rica 4 times, I know where the hell I'm going. But if I'm talking, I will drive past wherever I'm going every single time. And so, and we really explore some beautiful areas. So we might be in the car for 45 minutes one way. That is valuable time that I could be getting to interact with a guest. So I no longer drive. And then from the second retreat I ever hosted, I arrived the night before. The energy is better. I've had an entire day there. My chef has time to prep food. Um, So yeah, don't doing it alone, giving yourself enough time to set up. Don't arrive at the same time and don't leave at the same time either. Kick them on an hour early. You don't need to be packing your bag the same time they are. It doesn't look good. It looks unprofessional. It looks, just looks, the energy is frenetic. It's not good. And the other thing I would say, shoot, there was one that I really learned quickly. God, I just forgot it. If it comes back, I'll tell you.
Okay. Well, like we have already established, we are sisters because
Yeah.
one of the big things that I learned too was I have to be there a day early. If it's
Mhm.
international, like a longer international one, like Europe, where, the flights are 12 hours plus where I'm
The
from,
worst.
I'll go
Yeah.
even minimum of 2 days before, which gives me one time to rest a little bit. And then also in case there's something wrong with the flight,
Yes.
that's just too long of a flight to chance it.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you get delayed by one day, you're screwed.
you're
And
screwed.
I'm the same way. I actually host in the Italian Dolomites on the 4th, and I get in on the 1st. Not only jet lag,
Yeah.
but yeah, long flight and just any issue that you can have that you don't have control over. Yeah.
Yeah. My Mexico retreats, I go 2 days, but like France or Europe or anywhere like that, I'm typically also there 3 or 4 days in advance as well. But I also do stay a minimum of one full day after. And for me, it's twofold. I also don't agree that you should be packing your shit while your guests are also packing up. It just is not a good feel. And they're having to track you down to
Hmm.
say goodbye. And no, none of that just does not feel right to me. But also, things happen to your guests. Their flight gets
Yeah.
messed up, and they're like, "Gosh, do I have to leave right now and go sit somewhere for 4 hours?" And no,
Yeah.
you can sit here for 4 hours or whatever may be the case.
Yep.
And then, obviously, when everybody leaves, Anna, I don't want to rush back home to my everyday life either.
Same. I knew you were going there because we are on the same wavelength. I need someone to take care of me for a day. I need someone to not speak words to me for 24 hours. And I can't go home to all of my responsibilities and just even my dog wanting me to feed him. That's too much.
I
Like,
agree.
no. I have a photographer and a chef that host all of them with me, and we all go to the spa, and we usually don't speak many words to each other. We all get room service, maybe a bottle of wine, and that's it.
So again, I always get a massage. Somebody comes and
Yep.
gives me a
Yep.
massage. And then I usually have a few adult beverages and just not talk. And so,
Yes.
yeah, I totally agree with you. But Anna, it sounds like we have to get together in person. I am so
Yes.
excited that you came onto the show today to share some of your perspective, your history, and some of your lessons. If somebody wanted to work with you, whether it's for retreat planning or maybe even attend one of your yummy retreats, by the way, people, I took a look at her retreats. Yes, you have to go check them out. So, how would they get a hold of you?
Yeah. So Y-O-U-R, wanderingroots.com has everything. Retreats that don't suck if you want to go on a retreat with us. And then moneymakingretreats.com is for if you want to host a retreat and need some help planning.
Yes, that will also all be linked in the show notes. So, Anna, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thanks again for having me. It's been fun.
Thanks for tuning in to the Retreat Leaders Podcast. If you love this episode, please make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your retreat besties. Want more support? Grab free resources at theretreatleadersplaybook.com. Until next time, lead boldly, serve deeply, and retreat profitably.